Yeah, but I know it went C.J. Stroud at 1 for me. Makes a little too much sense for Carolina. Like I said, though, I feel like Anthony Richardson is a wild card. That would not surprise me one bit. He has a lot of similarities to Cam Newton. Definitely a little underdeveloped as a passer to where Cam was coming out of college, but ultimately, I think they're after C.J. Stroud, and I think it all just kind of lines up. For me, I'm going Bryce Young to Houston at 2. Another match made in heaven type of thing. I feel like uh, I feel like those two are locks for me. I'm pretty damn certain that's how that's going to go. Number 3, I got Will Anderson, I believe, going to Arizona. And here's a reason that through my top 10, I don't have any more trades, is I feel like once you take out Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, everybody saw that Carolina trade, and I think the price is just going to be too high for the return for somebody to move up any further. So I think it stays, sequential draft order from there. Number 4, I got Indy biting the bullet on Anthony Richardson. Jim Irsay is just that type of guy. He's going to do it. He's going for the splash, and that could be Lamar Jackson or that could be Josh Johnson. I mean, his range of outcomes is so no one really knows. The Raiders are a team that could potentially try to sneak up, I feel like, and get a little bit of Anthony Richardson, but I feel like the Raiders should have learned over the years. You remember when Raiders would only go and sorry to get off topic, but Raiders would just go take the fastest guy at the combine every fucking year, and it like never worked out. That's the reason I feel like they could make this play for Anthony Richardson and potentially move up where Arizona is. But in my mock, I do not have any more trades. Number 4, like I said, Richardson to Indy. Number 5, Jalen Carter to Seattle. I like that one there. I feel like he definitely could have been the first overall pick if everybody didn't fucking need a quarterback. Yep. The arrest thing kind of came at a bad time. So in my mock, you see him slip to 5, but definitely a 101 type of talent. Big old boy in the middle there. But number 6 is
Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez, yes, he's definitely established himself as cornerback 1. A lot of questions with Okuda. Just really hasn't returned the value of where they took him. They've gone on record saying, "Oh, we're not giving up on him, X, Y, and Z," but they need some help at corner, and I think they take the best one off the board there. Number 7, Vegas.
Yep.
Vegas. I think Will Levis to Vegas is a lock. And truth be fucking told, they're downgrading from Carr with Levis. I think. I mean, at least initially for a while, he's going to have to develop as a passer as well. That's kind of a developmental prospect. And me, if I'm trying to take my guy of the future and I'm Josh McDaniels trying to save my career as the head coach, that's not the route I'm going to take. I'm going to go get a Jimmy G who could help me win now. And that might be what they do. I know you said you like Jimmy G to Las Vegas. Yeah. They might go get Jimmy G and sit Will Levis on the bench for a year or 2 or however long it takes. Or he might come out and be a star. I don't know. Never met the guy. Just can see him on tape. Number 8, I am going to go
Atlanta, Tyree
Wilson. And he's a guy that was real high, and he's just kind of gradually slipped down the boards. I think the value is just too good to pass up at 8. He's going to be a casualty of, probably a top 3 talent going later just because of the overbearing need for a quarterback, right? Yep. It could easily be the 103 in my opinion. But, things happen. Shit's got to shift around. He falls down to Atlanta there, and they're glad to have him because their defense has been bad as long as I can fucking remember. Number 9.
Peter Skorinsky to Chicago.
Yep, Chicago getting the best tackle on the board, in my opinion. I think he's a hometown guy, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and he's from there.
He's from Chicago. It'd be a good homecoming story, and that's what they need. If they're gonna, they made the commitment to Justin Fields. They traded the first pick. They went and got him a receiver. Actually, got him two at this point. Um, they need to protect him, and I think that's what they do. And like I said before, I think this might be their first pick on their board. To be honest with you, they probably are well fucking aware of the fact that they need an offensive lineman to help keep Justin Fields from running 2,000 yards a year or whatever he's doing. And then number 10, this is my kind of sprinkle pick. I got my guy Bijan going to Philly at 5. Here's the thing I've said for a long time now. I do not see them paying Miles Sanders. He is this year's James Conner. I don't think he's worth a big time contract, and I think that's what he's going to be out for because that's what his stats said from the year. But here's the deal: he was running behind the best offensive line in football. He was just in the perfect situation, right place, right time. And I don't blame the guy for trying to capitalize on that and get a contract, right? But dude, he ain't it. He's not a Christian McCaffrey. He's not a Dalvin Cook. He's not a Derrick Henry. He's not even in the same realm as these guys. So I think he goes off, gets paid, and they circle back and they're one of those teams that's built really well and they can do that kind of shit. That's kind of how I see them. I see them kind of like the Bills. They kind of take these wild ass picks sometimes, but they can do that shit because they have a very good team. So that rounds out my top 10. I think it could be the Wild West after 2, though. I really do. I think it could be all kinds of trades. I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not a possibility.
No, I 100% agree. My top 10. I have Carolina taking Stroud. I think we talked about it earlier. Number 2, Houston trades in division to Indianapolis. I know you're crazy. Hear me out. Indianapolis trades the 104, a 23-2, a 24-1, and a 24-3 for Bryce Young. Why would Houston do this? To stay in the Caleb Williams running, who Bryce Young's a top 5 quarterback to come out in the last 5 years. Caleb Williams might be a top 2 next to Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Pat Mahomes right now is better than those guys, but I'm talking like out of college where you put them top 2 type talents. I think that it's hard to pass it up, especially if I'm Houston, I'm okay with either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I just want one of them. So if I can get one of them, pick up a few extra picks, stay in the Caleb Williams running, sign a Jimmy G, sign a Gardner Minshew, just someone who can be a bridge starter. Maybe you draft Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round. I like that. So Indianapolis picks Bryce Young. I think that Steichen really, really, really likes Young. I think that's someone he would mesh with well. I think he'd do okay with Richardson. However, the college passing numbers scare me off. But if anyone was going to be an outlier, it would be a guy like Richardson.
So let me put my 2 cents in on this. Nick Caserio almost got fired this offseason for how things have gone the last 2 years that he's been the GM. I just couldn't see a reality where he's like, hey, Cal, I'm going to punt one more year. Don't fire me, bro. And that ending well because, yeah, I just don't see a reality where he's going to survive another year. And then you add in an interdivision trade. Like I would rather trade that pick to somebody else that's not Indy and Bryce Young be the second coming of Peyton Manning and fuck me twice a year. So that's why I see. I mean, it's Houston, right? First of all, nothing's off the board. But that's the kind of shit that would make me slam my nuts in a car door.
I'm just saying the numbers are numbering here. You want Caleb Williams. I don't care what you tell me. I like Bryce Young a lot. Top 5 quarterback in the last 10 years to come out. I love Caleb Williams, who's tall Kyler Murray. That's who I'm making a play for. You can sign Jimmy G. That's fine. Hendon Hooker in the third round. Give me all of the third round Hendon Hooker. I want all of that. But I just don't think that you can pass up an extra second, the 104, an extra first next year, and a third next year to move down 2 picks to get. We'll get there. Number 3, Arizona takes Will Anderson. Number 4, Houston, Jalen Carter, who is a 101 type talent with the Ryans coming over from San Francisco, who prioritizes defensive line talent.
I agree. I mean, I'd love to have Jalen Carter. And let's all just put a blanket over this whole arrest thing, because if you don't remember, there's been a lot of guys over the last few years who get caught up like with some shit that last week before draft day. You remember Laramie Tunsil gas masking it the week before the draft. He's a top 5 talent in the NFL. He did just fine. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, shit happens with some of these guys, like right before the draft.
That's it. That's all.
What?
He wanted some hair on his chest. I was 16 before.
Yeah. That's it.
Are you really grown if you haven't hit a gas mask? That's the real question of life.
Well, and you know, I'm a big Laramie Tunsil fan, man. Like good solid offensive tackle. We need to pay his ass next year. I'm in.
Oh, you should trade him. All right. Number 5, I have Seattle taking Anthony Richardson, who they've been linked to. And it would make sense, right? And they could make moving Geno. I haven't looked at his contract, but Geno, I'm sorry, he's not going to be the answer very long. He's like, remember when Ryan Tannehill had one good year and then everyone was like, oh, he's a top 12 quarterback after sucking forever. And then he ended up being not a top 12 quarterback anymore. That'll be Geno Smith.
What was that guy? And I can't even remember his name. But it'll show you how much Seattle values a high dollar contract. What was that fucking guy's name? He was a backup for the Packers. He went out and threw fucking 6 tutties in the last game of the year, and Seattle turns around and signs him to some big money deal. It was the year Russell Wilson came in. He never even started a game. Fucking shit.
Was it Kevin Kolb?
No, he was in Arizona and Philly. I can't remember his name. That's how relevant he was. But they went out and signed him right after that season to a big money deal and drafted Russell Wilson the same year. And yeah, the rest is history. I mean, Russell Wilson came in. Huh?
It wasn't Matt Flynn.
Flynn. Yeah, Flynn. Yeah, so yeah, I love Geno Smith, man. I'm glad he did what he did, but he is not the long-term answer. He's 33, 34, and just now playing good football. They would be irresponsible to not think of the future at this point. So I don't hate Richardson to Seattle.
Number 6, I have Detroit taking Tyree Wilson to put on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. They're cooking with fire there. I think Goff's been pretty good. If I'm Detroit, maybe you take this pick and then you offer Lamar a huge deal. But you got to offer for Lamar. I mean, it makes no sense not to. Number 7, I have the Raiders taking Will Levis, though. I wouldn't be shocked if I hear Jimmy Garoppolo and Brissett signing there and them taking a defensive player or trading the pick for a player here. Number 8, I have Atlanta. Here's my shake-up pick. They need a tackle. They're not going to take the tiny Peter Skorinski. Arthur Smith, with his power run blocking scheme, is going to take the Georgia Bulldogs Broderick Jones, the athletic freak from Georgia.
That's a big boy.
He's the most athletic tackle. He's 3'11", 6'5". He's huge. I think he's going to be a monster. Atlanta is going to need to just pick up talent, and you need to pick it up this early at the 4 key positions: corner, tackle, quarterback, wide receiver. They're accomplishing that here. Chicago, number 9, Skorinski. I agree with you there. And Philly, number 10. It's silly. I don't agree with drafting a running back in the first round. Pure just stop. If I can get Zach Charbonnet in the late second, why would I draft Bijan 110? So I have Philly grabbing Christian Gonzalez, though I do agree that Miles Sanders is going to be gone. I could see Kenny Gainwell plus put a jag grinder type like Dearness Johnson there, filling out that role. And that would be my top 10.